Hello everybody and welcome back to a Q&A Wednesday. We have had plenty of questions from our Patrons and we're doing another quickfire round from Instagram. So thank you everybody for, giving us your questions really. We've got quite a few to cover and I actually really like the quickfire round as well. So next time you see that on Instagram or Facebook, just let us know what you'd like to know really. So they're the sort of ask me anything questions. So yeah, we really appreciate those. I'm going to go straight into it with the Patreon questions. And if you're not already a patron of Combe Valley Campers, you can click on the link below. And our tiers of support basically start from £1 and they go all the way up to 12. And you get loads of different benefits, all at those different tiers. And the first question is from Cracknell. He is a top tier patron and he's completely making use of the support that we give you as a £12 patron supporter. So he's asked us a bunch of questions about his build. We're giving him one-on-one advice. And then once you've had X amount of months on the top tier as a patron supporter, you get some free merch as well. So, and also as a patron supporter, you start with, I think it's a 10%, isn't it? It's a 10% discount on all your merch, and that can go up to a 15% too. So Jay, thank you very much for your questions. We've got four for Jay. These are carried over from when we asked questions for our podcast that we recorded. We didn't do the technical questions on the podcast. So let's get straight into it. First question from Jay, how can you heat your van on 12 volt DC? There are a number of ways. I'm not going to say you can heat, directly from 12 volt, if you have a good enough battery set, and I'm talking lithium ion battery sets, you can actually convert that into 240 volt AC via a suitable inverter, and you can actually run underfloor heating. Our friends Gary and Tina over at justescape.com, they have converted their lithium ion battery pack with a bunch of intelligent electronics gear. They've converted all of the electrics in their van to 240 volt and actually have underfloor heating. So if you're prepared to put tens of thousands of pounds worth of battery and electric management systems in your van, then yes, you can heat your van on 12 volt DC. The alternative is running a secondary heating source such as a diesel, a gas or a petrol heater using the 12 volt DC just as the power supply to that. So 12 volt, yes, it can be done. However, you need lots and lots of money to do that. Alternatively, you can run a alternative fuel heater such as gas, diesel or petrol. Second question, and this is a follow-on from something he'd asked. He says, you spoke about the leisure battery. I'm just looking to camp out for maybe a week max at a time. What amp hour battery would you recommend? Have you done a video RE solar panels before? I'd want a 100 watt solar panel to recharge my battery. Would that work? Sorry for all the questions, he says, many thanks. So in terms of amp hour, in terms of the battery capacity, and in terms of your usage, that's an open-ended question really, because we could say start with a 90, 100 or 120 amp hour battery for your requirements in your van, which are say a couple of USB sockets, some 12 volt lighting and say a heater like we mentioned before, and that would be fine for the time being. However, you may then upgrade your electrics or you may have more usage. So I think what we will do, we will cover more of that another day with James from Rain Automotive, because we're going to talk about not algorithms but more formulas that we can work out what amp hour battery. But I think for your requirements in a basic camper, anywhere between a 90 and 120 amp hour AGM battery will be perfect for your needs if you're just using USBs and things. In terms of solar panels, again, a bit open-ended. It depends entirely on your requirements. So I hope that's helped a little bit. Third question, hi guys, what are the best few ways to save money when converting? Do it yourself, really. Do it yourself and try and source free, if not very cheap, raw materials from anywhere really. One of the videos we hope to do in the future is building a van for as cheap as possible. We want to do it for almost free if we can. So it's doing as much work as you can yourself, rather than paying somebody to do the labour, because that's where a lot of the cost is when you're having a van converted, is actually down to the labour per hour. But the rest of it is using resources like us, where we can help you with advice, and checking out loads of forums or Facebook pages, things like that. They can be very helpful. But in terms of the raw material costs, trying to source as much as you can for free, or speak with other converting companies that may be local to you. They might have a skip outside full of other bits and pieces that they no longer need, but may be perfect for your build. Fourth and final from Jay. Also, what are the pros and cons of keeping in a bulkhead of a panel van when doing a conversion to a camper or day van? First of all is when you're driving, it can keep the noise out from the back of the van to the front of the van. If you keep a bulkhead in, you can get the cab warmer quicker, and you can also sound deaden that panel as well, so you can again make the cab quieter. Thinking from the back of the van point of view, you can heat the inside of the van quicker. Again, if you've just got a heating system inside the back of the van, keeping the bulkhead between the cab and the living area, again, you can close it off and heat it up quicker. Security is a biggie. You've got lots of glass in the front of the vehicle, so having a bulkhead is that extra layer of protection for security as well. But there is also the option that you can cut maybe a doorway or a hatch or something through into the front of the vehicle if you need to. So pros and cons of keeping the bulkhead there. Thank you very much, Jay, and again, thank you very much for being a Patreon supporter. Next one is from Tracy Griffin. Can you use an electric car charging point if you have a standard electric hookup, split charge relay, etc., and your leisure batteries are low, rather than having to drive around aimlessly just to recharge? If not, is it just a case of modifying your setup / adapters, or a complete incompatibility? I'm still planning my electrical setup at this stage, so considering all of my power options for when an electric hookup is not available on site. So, quite simply, can you use an electric car charging point if you have a standard electric hookup? The question, or the answer to that, is no, basically, and that is because when you plug in your EHV, your electric vehicle, there is actually a two-way data communication between the hookup point that you might find in the car park or outside of a supermarket and the car yourself. Obviously, the car manufacturers like to track and whatever that, get the data from the car when you plug in, so that's good for their analytics. And also, once that lead is plugged into the vehicle, it will communicate with the hookup point, and then it'll allow you to charge. So I don't know too much about it, to be honest with you, but flat out, in terms of charging up your leisure batteries, it's a no, purely because there's that two-way data communication between the vehicle and the hookup point. There are alternatives, actually having electric hookup, and you can carry a regular extension lead, and you can get an adapter for the end of your hookup cable. They're known as a pigtail lead, and you can plug in to the end of the lead that you would normally plug into the campsite. You can have an adapter which will have a regular 3-pin 240 volt AC household plug. So a regular 3-pin plug. You plug that adapter onto the end of your hookup lead, and you can plug that straight into the wall of your house, and that will charge up your leisure battery if you have the 240 volt to 12 volt charger. A lot of people get confused when they're talking about 240 volt electrics and 12 volt electrics. If you have a camper on its own with batteries, you can't just plug a kettle into the 3-pin plug and start boiling a kettle. The 240 volt and the 12 volt systems are generally separate from each other. You can join those systems together, however, using a 240 volt to 12 volt charger. That means when you plug in your vehicle to electric hookup, then you will actually start charging the leisure battery. So a 240 volt to 12 volt charger, or one of these intelligent Zig units or Sargent units, will sense when you're getting 240 volt input and then automatically charge your battery. So management systems for leisure vehicles are getting more clever all the time, basically. I think that's it for that one. So the alternative, charging your batteries when you're not hooked up, is obviously the use of solar panels as well, and we've just covered that with Jay. Again, if you've got any further questions on Patreon about solar, please ask. We will be doing a video in the future with the guys from Rain Automotive, so look forward to that. Last question is from Matt. Oh, Tracy, thank you for being a Patreon supporter. Matt says, hi Lee, where is the best location to fit the electric hookup under the bonnet? I have come through into the engine bay with the main split charge live via your video. But currently that yellow cable is dangling and needs a secure permanent home, not connected power yet, by the way. I would say from that question, it's a little bit confusing, but if you've put your split charge through the route as per our video, I'm going to assume that you have a VW T5 or T6, because that's the vehicle we covered in the split charge. If you've run your hookup point to under the bonnet and that's where you like it, there are different alternative locations really, because the T5, T6 came with lots of different engine combinations, so I can't say for certain, yes, put it here, put it there, wherever it may be, because that might differ to the engine. I will need more information to give you a clearer answer. There are companies out there actually that are converting the front grille of a T6 so the front VW emblem actually spins out the way, and it's got a 240 volt hookup point behind the front VW emblem, so you can spin that out the way and plug in your hookup cable to actually the front of your van. Look out for those. I can't give you a link to one of those because I can't remember who does them, but that's an alternative if you have the T6. If we find that link, or we find that company, there'll be a little link in the description for you, and who knows, maybe we can have a chat with that company and put it in one of our future videos. We'll have a look. And that is it for the Patreon questions. Matt, once again, thank you for being a Patreon supporter. Thanks to all of you who are Patreon supporters. You really do help us, and you really help the channel keep going. You will see more evidence of that later down the line. What we will do now is our Instagram quickfire round. Dan is waiting in the wings again with the questions. So Dan, go ahead with the first.
So the first question is regarding cable routing.
Yeah.
They are routing their cables through their VW T6 and they are stuck in the B pillar.
Okay.
What do you do next?
So when you're routing cables through any vehicle, it's best to make sure the route is clear first before you start stuffing cables in. We have a couple of different methods of that. We find that things like drain cleaner rods that you sort of screw together, or even the ones you can just buy, they're like bendy rods, you can manipulate them through the holes in the bodywork, and as long as you've got a clear route through and you can connect both those drainage rods, for example, and the cable to each other, you can then pull the cable sort of through the bodywork quite nicely. So yeah, make sure your route's clear. If you're trying to go through the B pillar, I would suggest coming in underneath the plastic trim to the right hand side of the driver's seat, going all the way up the B pillar and out via the ceiling, or if you make an extra hole in the bottom of the B pillar, you can get through into the cavity behind the long side panel. That was not a quick fire round, was it? Okay, next question.
10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Underbody ceiling / rough proofing kits. Have you done this?
Yes, I've done them from everything I've done it to everything from a split screen bay window T3 all the way through to a new T5. Sorry, I'm looking here. Yeah, so there are a couple of things I would use. There is a Dinitrol or a wax oil, and what you have is what's known as a Schutz gun, and it's a can that sits underneath an airline, and then it will spray the wax or whatever cavity sealing fluid is, and you can spray your underneath the chassis. If it's a more modern van, you're going to have to remove all the belly pans, potentially even drop the fuel tank a little bit so you can get right in the cavities. If it's a more classic van, make sure you've got no flaky paint under there, dirt, rust. Just make sure it's all clean and ready for prep, as if you're painting it. Prep it as if you're painting it, and then you can spray all the underbody sealant. So Dinitrol, wax oil, or what we have done, we've done a bay in the last few years in Raptor, in textured Raptor black paint, and that looked awesome. So there's another option for you.
Where is the best place to purchase carpet liner from?
We choose one of two places. First off is Harrison Trim Supplies. We've got a good relationship with Harrison Trim Supplies. You can buy bundles, so 12 metres of carpet and 12 metres of glue, for example, and they have Easy Liner, which is the 4-way stretch, regular Vel trim, and all sorts of things. The other alternative is Mega Van Mats, but with all of the camper van conversion suppliers at the moment, they are absolutely slammed with orders, so be prepared for a little bit of a wait.
Can you do a video on keeping a T3 running reliably, and what is the best engine to go for?
Yes, we can. Yes, we filmed one yesterday. Yes, we're going to do another one tomorrow. My own T3 double cab pickup, affectionately named as Bob, was a bit of a running disaster. So it's a 1.9 DG petrol engine. So we've replaced fuel lines, we've cleaned the carb, we're going to be doing the cooling system. We've also got a library of videos called How to T3 on our YouTube page. We shall leave a link below. But yes, T3s/T25s are my vehicle of choice. I absolutely love them. We've done a lot of videos about them. But yes, look forward to more and more videos about those. In terms of the best engine, depends on your requirements or your budget, really. I've had or driven nearly all engine combination and drivetrain combination of T3. In my own personal camper, I've got an AAZ turbo diesel from a Mark III Golf. In Bob, there's a 1.9 petrol, but I've driven and had Subaru engine vans, GTI engine vans. There's all sorts of different things depending on your budget. But in terms of reliability, depends how well you look after it. Preventative maintenance is key.
What is the best way to upgrade the factory interior roof lights without a leisure battery?
Factory interior roof lights without a leisure battery. LED bulbs. Yeah, LED bulbs. Or if you are feeling a little adventurous, you could maybe get some LED strip lights, the small camper van conversion ones. We use a company called Clear Cut Conversions. We can leave a link down below. They do some really nice small, they're what, 30-40 centimetre LED strips. Huge improvement over the factory lighting. And if you want, you can connect them to the existing wiring. If you're not confident, have a chat with somebody who's used to doing vehicle electrics.
This next one, I think we're going to need some more information, but is it possible to replace the wiper linkage from another car, or how can it be repaired?
Wiper linkage being repaired. No, it's not that easy to replace from another vehicle. Again, we'll need more information on the vehicle, but generally older vans, there's a good use of spares out there. So there's lots of used. We've sold a wiper motor from one of our breaker vans just this week. So keep an eye out on Facebook Marketplace or eBay and places like that for used parts for your vehicle.
And finally, from Jim Clarkson, he wants to know, would you like to buy a van? He's downsizing to a Caddy.
Thank you, Jim. Jim's a friend of mine. I've got enough projects, mate, but thank you. However, do any of you need a long wheelbase T5? It was a Combe, I think. It's now got a custom interior. But if you're watching, yes, message us. We know of a T5 long wheelbase for sale with some nice all-terrain tyres on it. Or alternatively, Jim, ping us some pictures and we can maybe put it up on our Facebook page or social media pages. But thank you very much. Is that all? Super. Once again, thank you very much, everybody, for supporting us. If you've not subscribed, do it now. Click down in that bottom corner. We've been looking at our stats and not enough of you are subscribing. Get down there. It helps us out. It helps you out so you know when the videos are on. What else did I want to plug? Merchandise. We've got some stocks left available of our t-shirts, our hoodies, our hats and our masks in time for Christmas. So if you'd like to place an order, do it now and we can get it done and out to you by Christmas. The masks are really, really cool. Thanks again, everybody. Thank you to Ali, who's behind the camera. Thank you to Dan and Izzy, the team in the background, who have been sorting all this out for me. And all I have to do is read the questions and answer them. So have a good day, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.